Have you feel my audio yet, mate? No pressure then, is there?
Have you got the audio in?
Oh shit, yeah, I'm ready. Alright, ready? Just go, yeah? Just go, yeah?
Yeah, it's all up and running whenever you are ready.
No pressure then. Give it a minute to get some people in first. Got the stream up, make sure my audio is actually in. Yeah, the audio's in. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Euro Titan Championship Race 1 here in the Elite Division. We are back. A little hiatus after the finale of Jim's Cooking Series, but we're under new management now. It is with ETE and our new fearless leader, Sir Conium. And we are here in Austria, in Spielberg, for round 1 of the Austrian Grand Prix, and I am happy to announce that I'm being joined by a new man. Was not here in JCS last time out, but he's here now. Ashley, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you for having me here. I guess first of all, it's it's going to be interesting to see how tonight pans out. It's a new experience for me in that aspect as well. I'm not very familiar with all of these drivers, but I've tried to familiarise myself as much as I can. But I do know the circuit, so that will help me throughout, I hope.
No, you know what's important, and that's all that matters. So, for everybody watching, we're going to quickly give a little rundown of all the teams taking part in ETC this season. So, in the Ferrari, we have the ABS Racing team. We've got No Grosjean. I'm going to butcher a lot of these names, but we'll go with it. And Linus Donovan. So that's ABS in the Ferrari. In the Mercedes, you've got ETE, the Euro Titans Esport. That should be Jordan Arnold and Stefan. I believe we had Roman Dishbay here. He is here. He was here last season, and he's back in the ETE in the Mercedes. The Williams is full of the NLR Esports Academy. Should be Jay Kennedy and Zycro. In the Red Bull, we've got FRC, Senior Ghost, and Naka, I believe we're going to say it. The Aston Martin consists of the AMS, Alien Motorsport. That should be Lucas and Lucas, so that's not going to be confusing whatsoever. BRT, the Bunga Racing team, are in the Haas, Bourbon Boy and Balash are in that car. FGE, Phil the McLaren, Dami and Yeezy. TIR are in the Alpha Tauri, Kieran and Sonic. NRT is the Alfa Romeo, Legend Life and Millie. And SCPI, Cedars Phoenix Igniters, should be in the Alpine with Michelle and Pitor Dabek. So that's a quick rundown of who we have participating tonight. And without further ado, let's see what the first laps are looking like, Ashley.
Yeah, the first lap's coming in right this second as you just finished. Sornick there, a 104.7 for the AlphaTauri. He sets the initial benchmark. I will come back as it's immediately beaten by Debek in the Alpine there, 103.6. So that's also a very good benchmark. And then Domi crossing the line for FGE in the McLaren. Aston Martin, as you say, Lucas. I think that could get rather confusing, but I think luckily, as looking down at the names here in the lobby, we've got Lucas 09 or Lucas on its own. So I think we can separate the two fairly successfully throughout this, should we need to use their names a lot. But yeah, I can imagine that could get quite confusing quite quickly, but we'll see what happens as we move further into the qualifying session. 5 people setting their lap times so far, and BRT Balaz?
I say Balash, but I'm not too
You say
sure.
Balash?
Yeah, I
Alright,
think
Ballas.
that sounds right, but I'm not 100% really.
We'll go with Ballas.
Better than saying balls, as I did
103.591.
the first time.
It definitely is. We don't want that anymore, do we? We'll go with Ballas, 103.591. He sets the initial benchmark then in the Haas car there. So time to beat so far is that. But here at the Austrian Grand Prix, the Red Bull Ring, formerly the A1 Ring, there's not many corners to nail your lap, but that does also mean that the lap times are very close together. Normally only a tenth separates sort of a few drivers by the time we do finish qualifying. So 7 to the right, 3 to the left, but I basically class it as 2, as the turn 2, as you're making your way up the hill here. I'm still riding aboard with Sonic. He'll head through it in just a moment. I don't really class it as a corner. I don't know about you, Rob.
It's more of a kink because you're flat out. It's a little sort of adjustment of the steering wheel, And yeah, I wouldn't class it, I don't think.
No, it's basically 9 corners here, 9 proper corners with one thrown in there for a little bit of fun. But
Oh,
3 DRS zones. Oh, that was a bit of a spin there. Yeah, just caught the back of that before I moved off it real quickly. But yeah, little spin there from Sonic in the Alpha Tauri. As a few more guys have now started to set some lap times. The current pole position man now is Donovan for Ferrari for ABS. And never mind, Naka then beats that with a 103.476 for the Red Bull. And he's representing FRC tonight. So he'll be hoping to make a good impression here for ETC. And especially for his esports team as well.
yep, exactly. The lap time's coming in thick and fast. It's a short track, one of the shortest on the calendar, getting close to 60-second lap times. The day we see a lap time in F1 quicker than a minute, it's going to be a sight to behold. But yeah, 103s looks to be where it is, and there is Lucas putting himself P3, saying the exact same lap time as Linus Donovan. That is how close it is amongst these Elite Division drivers, and Zycro for NLR puts himself P2 in the Williams, a nice banker. And we are still awaiting 5 people to set a lap. You can count Lucas as 6 in that fray. A 25.8 is not going to be competitive whatsoever. So still a few people waiting to get a lap on the board. As I say, only 10, pretty much 9 corners around this track. So you have to nail every single one if you want to get yourself anywhere near the top of this timing board. But someone who's going to look to do that now is going to be Senor Ghost, as he is starting his lap here. Set to 18.1, which is obviously not something he's going to want, and he immediately invalidates, which is rather excellent for him. Definitely not what he wanted to do. But we'll once again have a look around, see if we can spot somebody starting a lap. There's Kieran Darry. He's finishing his lap for in the TIR outfit in the AlphaTauri tonight. But yeah, a little bit of a breather for us as everyone's finished their first runs, and I think they're starting their second runs now, which should begin with Yeezy.
Yeah, just a few cars there heading out onto track. A lot of them still in the pit. I'm just riding on board here with that's going to be very hard to pronounce that name. Zyro. I'm going to go Row. I think that's a lot easier and simpler to pronounce. But he's very in the Williams for NLR. God, my words, they're just not right. He's made his way into the pits, so finishing his banker lap. He currently sits P2 in the standings, which is good from him, as we've had a retirement there. Senor Ghost looks as though... Is that a retirement on track, or is that in the pits?
Looks to be in
pits. I can't work out where he's retired from. From the pits, obviously he's not going to cause any problems there, then that's good news on that front. But you're saying the Spielberg Saga here, one of the shortest. I'd have the actual official. It's 4th shortest. Only shortened out, I guess you could say, by Brazil, Mexico City and Monaco. So there you go. Now you know exactly how short this Grand Prix is. But yeah, as I said earlier, the lap times, the gap between them is going to be incredibly close, and Donovan and Lucas, they're proving just that, as they did set the identical lap time. Lucas will sit behind Donovan though, because he set his lap second. So they made that rule for the incredible finish in 1997, I believe it was. It was Hill, Schumacher, and I want to say Villeneuve. I can't quite remember the last one, but they had to make that rule because they were all on the same lap time, and they didn't know who to give it to, did they?
On that occasion.
It could have been, you know.
Schumacher, Villeneuve and Frentzen.
I thought it was Hill for some reason, but yeah, it would have made sense that it was Villeneuve, as he was fighting for the championship with Schumacher on that occasion. But enough about 97. We're here in 2023, and we're here for ETC round 1 in Austria, as Mellum sets another lap there. Just watch him finish over the line. It's only good enough for 12th currently. Both the Alfa Romeos there for NRT in 11th and 12th. And it looks as though the sort of teams here, a couple of outliers as you get into the top 8, but they're going pretty 2 by 2 by the looks of it there, Rob.
A little bit of Noah's Ark action going on. Yeah, we got the two McLarens, 2 Alfa Romeos. The Alpha Tauris are almost next to each other, and there we go. The CPI man of mine, Michelle. That's what I'm going to call him, Michelle, goes fastest by quite a large margin, almost a tenth and a half to the Red Bull driver. And he is looking to hope that that's going to be enough for him. Still just under 8 minutes to go in this qualifying session. And there we go, the CPI guys putting themselves both on the front row. Peter Dabek is following through, not quite as quick as his teammate, but it is good enough for a front row lockout for CPI at the moment. A team that I don't believe competed in JCS, but they have entered here, and they look to be setting the competition alight. As I'm on board with the ABS driver of Linus Donovan there. Oh my word. He was on a nice lap heading into turn 4 and gets blocked by Kieran Darry, and letting out his frustrations there, and picking up a 5th-place grid penalty for his troubles. Really, really frustrated was Linus Donovan there, who I believe was on a relatively good lap, only through the first sector, but yeah, not happy with Kieran Darry there. Look around, trying to find people finishing the laps. That was BRT Balash getting himself into P5. We've got people coming across the line now. I believe Sornick is about to start a lap. We've got one of the Lucases for AMS just finished a lap, getting himself, I think it was an invalidated one actually. He found 2/10, would have been enough for the front row, but an invalidation has cost him that lap. Did you see what happened with Linus there, Ashley?
I didn't actually know. As you were mentioning it, I rode on board with him just as you were talking about him, so I only caught the end of it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I was just riding on board with Bourbon Boy, yet to set a lap time. He was on his flying lap, and coming out of turn 3, Amzag at the top of the hill, he just got a little bit loose on the exit, and it's caused him to back out of this lap, and I think he's going to charge the batteries best he can, set up to go again, in order to make sure he can get a banker in. He's still got enough time here to get a banker in, go around, come into the pits and get out for one final flying run, but he is going to be cutting it close as he now makes his way through Rint Curve here, the drops down for the right-hander of turn 9 officially, although as I say, it could be turn 8 depending on what you want to look at it, but yeah, officially turn 9, the Rint Curve, and he now makes his way towards Lauder of turn 1. Nice little uphill rise, tricky to find that apex sometimes, and if you run it out too wide, you're going to catch the sausage curb and bottom out the car. You're going to lose a ton of time making your way up the hill, and your lap's gone before it's even started. One of my favourite corners on the track, on the calendar even, turn 3 there, Amzag, right at the top of the hill, tiny little bit of a rise, and now you're going to make your way back down towards the start-finish straight. Turn 4, tricky little right-hander here. It dips away from you under braking, can easily lock a wheel and put it into the gravel off the circuit, and that is not what you want. And I think we may have even saw Donovan doing that just a few short moments ago. Turn 6, what the first of the left-handers, proper left-handers, followed up by the next one. Turn 7, very quick sector here in Austria, the middle sector, and then you've got a little wait before you make your way towards turn 9. Turn 9, yeah, the Rint Curve, and I think Bourbon Boy, well, he's in the pits, he's definitely backed out of it, so never mind. I've wondered if he was going for a full-on lap, but he wasn't. So he's going to come in and get set up to go for the final run with everyone else, but still yet to set a representative lap time there.
Yeah, not happy with what he was able to put on the track there. We got somebody else starting a lap here. It is going to be one of the Lucas guys for the AMS outfit in the Aston Martin. Currently sat P15 with on a 4.7. His teammate P7 with a 103.5. One of 2 drivers who have set identical laps along with Linus Donovan. Needs a little bit of an improvement here. He's going to need to either love this lap and stick it to the end, or do that and probably come in this lap, whack on a final set of boots to go again. Not sure he will be completing this lap. A bit of a wobble into turn number 3 under braking, probably coming in a bit too hot. Obviously on the curb makes braking a lot trickier, but definitely not happy with that lap. We've got Kieran Darry coming on an out lap, but it is everybody. It's pretty much a waiting game now, waiting for the track to ramp up to its absolute peak performance, and especially how short the lap time is around this circuit. These drivers should be coming out, I would say, 2-minute 30 mark, so we might have a little bit to wait. We've got one of the Alpines of Michel, the fastest man at the moment, in the number 6 Alpine. He's coming out to get a nice bit of clear track ahead of him, as Lucas, for some
I think that's
reason,
his lap done. Whoa!
he finished the lap, even though he invalidated.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, he invalidated it coming out of turn 10, the final corner. He ran it just a little bit too wide on the exit. I was watching on board to see if he was going to set it or not, and he did go for it. And coming out of Rint Curve, turn 9, he was fine. Out the final corner, though, just ran it that little bit too wide, and the entire lap was for nothing. So I think that's his qualifying done, as he won't have the time now, I don't think, to get around, get in, and back out on a fresh set of boots. So as far as I can see, Lucas 09 for Aston Martin, qualifying over, and it's either going to be 18th, 19th, or if he's lucky he might stay where he is. Well, he definitely won't finish at the back because Senior Ghost has retired, so he won't be finishing dead last, but he'll be finishing at the back nonetheless.
Yeah, not an ideal qualifying session for him. A lap that coming across the line looked pretty good. He had improved by quite a large amount, but obviously running wide is not ideal. Kieran Darry here, however, is going to be should be the first of the last runs that we're going to have here in the qualification. It's flown by, just about 2 minutes left, and there you see the flurry of cars coming out on track. Hopefully nobody will be blocked Kieran here. There is a Haas which gets out of the way nicely. Previously that is BRT Balash. He gets out of the way really nicely there, and Kieran is able to finish this lap nice and cleanly. However, once again we have a victim of turn 10. What would have been a 4.1, still not an incredible lap time, but running wide has cost him that lap. We're going to try and run on board with as many people as you possibly can. Linus Donovan starts his final lap. We've got Michelle, the fastest man at the moment. He is finding 200ths through the first sector, and he looks to be pushing the absolute limit of his car, driving its socks off, as Roman Dishmay calls his session quits without sending a single lap time. So perhaps was going to the shops or having some sausage and mash. We're not too sure, but we will find out what he can do in the race. Michelle, however, is finding another 10th, purple to the middle sector. He's going to push with all of his might here in turns 9, try and keep it valid. Turn 10, we've seen 2 people invalidate already in the last minute almost. Michelle does not do that, and he's going to come to the line. Can he improve his advantage at the top? He can. It's a 1 minute 3.2, finding a little bit over a 10th, and now we will see the lap times flying in as who is the next man to finish his lap? I believe it's a Williams, maybe?
I think it's Rowe for the Williams. I think it is Rowe for the Williams. He's coming round Rint Curve now, turn 9, into the final corner. There's a Haas in front of him blocking, but at the same time, he's also starting his lap. So he might even get a little toe from it, and that's good enough for second place currently. Donovan, I think, is going to be the next man across the line. Or has he already been across the line? He already has, again. Yeah. He's going again, potentially. There we go. Currently P6 for him, though. I'm not sure who's going to be next. It could be... I think it could be Lucas
Dommy.
in the alternate.
Dommy goes
it's
P4.
Dommy. Lovely lap from him, then. Lucas will be the next man across the line for the Aston Martin outfit. What's his lap time good enough to be? He goes P2. 103.309. That's good enough for the front row, but still not quite pole position. So at the moment, Michelle is currently taking pole. Who's next across the line? Looks to be one of the Alfa Romeos. Here he is. Here he comes through the final turn 10. Oh, he's lost it completely. He's round. Pushed the car to its limits and beyond. And he's found himself facing the wrong way out of the final corner. That's his qualifying done. Who's next across the line?
Victor goes P3 with a 103.3. And we've got an Alpha Tauri coming across the line. There's that Sonic. Where can he put his car? It's only P14. BRT Balash is good enough to go P5. I believe we have got a Ferrari. It's Linus Donovan, the man who got blocked for the fight. He's got a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll not be starting 3rd. He'll be starting 8th. He can only manage P4, which is now the case as Naka for the Red Bull puts it on provisional pole for now. Has anybody got enough in the locker to beat them? Bourbon Boy is on an invalid run. He won't be quick enough to beat him. We've got Zycro. He's coming in. He's finished. Lucas looks to be the last man, but he's not improving at all. And unless the other AMS boy of Lucas can beat him, which he can't, it is going to be a Red Bull on pole. It is Naka on pole position here in Austria.
Yeah, what a fantastic flurry of final runs there. They were coming in thick and fast, and it really came down to who could keep the car within the limits, I think. That turn 10 really taking victim to a lot of these drivers, unable to finish their run as they'd already committed to the lap, missing the pit entry. And turn 10 catching a lot of these guys out. I think Bourbon Boy was actually caught out in the middle sector. Turn 7 or 8, I think it was, he invalidated his lap. But he was definitely up there in terms of pace. He was improving by well over 5 seconds. So that was definitely good enough to be, in amongst it. But congratulations there to Naka. First time out in the Red Bull. And he takes provisional pole here in Austria. Oh,
Yeah,
he takes pole, not provisional. He takes it.
yeah, FRC looking to start the season with a bang. It's a pretty large margin at 800s, especially around a track like this. Um, but yeah, CPI getting themselves onto P2. It's looking like a pole was in the bag for CPI, who I think are a pretty new outfit. At least for me, they're a new outfit, and they were looking to really hit the ground running. But they've had a nice qualifying. Peter Dabak has put himself P5. The pole did not get pole, but he got himself P5. And it's a nice start for the Alpines. The teams have done well. ABS getting P4 and P9. That's a nice start for them. But yeah, quite a mixed bag here. But yeah, FRC, the team on top at the moment. It's going to be tricky to see how this translates into the race. Strategy, pit stops, safety cars, a whole host of things could influence the result here. And only time will tell, as I believe we are readying up in about 3 minutes' time.
Well, 3 minutes time then, Rob. That'll give me a little bit of time then to tell you the probability of a safety car. How about that?
Here you go.
Yeah, there you go. I love getting these facts in for these commentary evenings. They really bring me a bit of joy. It's sad to say, but I do enjoy it, looking out, finding all the info. Well, probability of a safety car. These are real-world statistics, so it doesn't necessarily translate over to sim racing, but it gives you a good idea. Well, the probability then is 50% based on the last 10 Grand Prix we've had here at the Spielberg circuit in Austria, and the probability of a virtual is 20%. So that will give you a bit of an idea. I think we've got a good chance of a safety car. It is 50-50, but sim racing, you do tend to get some drivers going for moves that the real-world counterparts necessarily wouldn't go for, as well, they've not got their lives on the line, let's say. But will be interesting to see, and I'll give you the next one here. Pole position down to turn 1, the breaking point of turn 1. 233 metres, and I think you can get a fair amount done in 233 metres, so it'll be interesting to watch especially the guys sort of in second and third, to see how they take the opening lap and corners, and see if they can potentially get a jump on the man who sits in pole position, Naka. But yeah, I think you know what, Austria always brings up a thrilling race, as the lap times are always very close together, so you can't really put your money on the pole man necessarily just yet. He may run away with it, who knows. We've still got the race to come to see, but I think anyone in the top 5, top 6 really do have a good shot at taking this win tonight.
Yeah, lots of opportunity for overtaking around here. So the 3 DRS zones, we're going to see pretty large DRS trains around here, and it's definitely interesting to see what kind of tyres everybody starts on around here. Whether you like to go long, pick a hard tyre, whether you want to get some moves done early on, picking the soft, maybe even a medium if you want to sort of give us something in the middle. I think at the end of the day, hard, medium is always going to be the superior strategy, especially with the DRS trains. If you can hang on at the start, you can capitalise later on. But hopefully, it is 8:33 now. Should not be too long before we have the lights on the panel. The race director can press his little button, get the start sequence ready, and let's wait and see. Should not be too long now. We're getting some good lucks in the chat, so hopefully that means we are ready to go. Quick prediction, Ashley. Quick.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know. Never mind. 3,
Never
4,
mind.
5 red lights. Here we go. Air Austria, round 1 of the Elite Division, and it's lights out, and away we go. Let's see if we can spot who has got a good start there. It's side by side into turn number 1 between Naka and Michelle. It's all clean and tidy at the moment. I'm having a look back. It's a McLaren of Domi push wide at turn 1. But other than that, it looks pretty clean. There's a bit of a battle between the Red Bulls further back in the grid. The battle for the lead looks pretty clean at the moment. Naka's got a really nice start. But we've got Peter and Zixro. They're going side by side through turn number 3. It looks like Zixro is going to hang on for that for now. He's got a little bit of a better exit. That's going to be him into P4. Not a great start for Peter Dalbeck. Further back, it looks like the McLaren and the Ferraris are battling hard, just like we see in real life. Into turn 4, they're going side by side. and Domi eventually has to yield there. Linus on those medium tyres, a little bit more grip off the start, they're lighting up a lot quicker. We've got the McLarens in loads of battles here. Yeezy's fighting with Jay Kennedy. They're still side by side through this middle section. You don't see this very often. It normally results in a collision, but that is unbelievable racing to stay clear of any accidents there. And Yeezy is going to hang on there, but Jay Kennedy is under attack here from Senior Ghost in the Red Bull. The Red Bull with a nice move. His teammate is holding on to P1 at the moment, and he is making moves further down, trying to do some more. We've got Jay Kennedy going for a move here. I'm trying to find all the battles we possibly can. Ashley, what was your view of that first lap?
My view of that first lap, by the time I sort of caught up with everything that was going on, was the Ferraris making their way one by one, following each other through up towards turn 3. As I think actually now I think there's a move potentially on here with the Ferrari against Ferrari action. Yeah, Donovan going ahead then of his teammate No in the sister car. So he's actually made up 2 positions then from the start, as opposed to his teammate who is stayed station where he is, and that Alfa Romeo looking to make another move. He's 4 positions up from the start. Raul, and there's a car around. That's Senior Ghost round in the sister Red Bull. He's found himself facing the wrong way out of turn 4 there through turn 5, and that is a tricky traction zone, but that is Senior Ghost, and it's a shame. He had such a great start to this Grand Prix. He was 6 positions up after the first lap. And well, he's now got it all to do once again. He's found his way to the back of the grid. But it looks as though he had some pace, so it will be interesting to see how his afternoon pans out as Marcelo there sets the fastest lap. And we've had our first disconnect.
I'll get him back
Boy
in.
has left the session. If you could whip an invite back to him, that would be much appreciated. I'll tell you, then I'll keep the action coming as you do that. Here goes the Ferrari then of Donovan round the outside of the Haas there of BRT Balaz, and he makes his way up to P6. 3 positions gained for him then at the start of this Grand Prix, and he looks to be making moves. Is he going to potentially get onto the back of the Alpine up ahead? I don't think it will be this time by, as it looks as though he's trying to cement it more from that Haas driver for BRT. But Donovan then, 3 positions up from the start, and he looks as though he's pretty racy at this point of the Grand Prix.
Yep, big tail of 2 cars for the Red Bulls and FRC, but it has been a pretty nice start for Naka. As bad as it has been for Senior Ghost, it has been a dream for Naka. He's hanging on to P1 for now on the hard tyres. Everybody opting for hard tyres except Linus Donovan, who is making pretty good use of his medium tyres, you have to say, off the start, making up a few positions. As I don't know what's happened to the other Ferrari of Grosjean. He was alongside his teammate in P6, but he decided he's fell down the order a little bit there, so that is not going to be a great start. It really has been a tale of 2 cars for a lot of these guys. We have a potential move here between the McLarens. Can go, but there is a move for P3. Sykes-Rowe is looking to not only clear Lucas, but maybe clear Michelle as well. Just about hangs on for now, but Linus finally gets past Peter Dabek. Those mediums are working really well, but BRT Balash here, he's not only going to try and clear Peter, he could try and get involved with Linus on those mediums, try and hold him up a little bit longer. But no, for now, Balash has to hang on just to P6. Linus with some good defence there, and will hopefully try and scamper up the road and just about hang in to that DRS4 now, teetering on the edge of that 1 second window, that all important, which the detection point is just after the apex of turn 9 here. And he looks to be comfortably in, making the most out of those medium tyres at the start of this race. Still only on lap 4, and yet so much has happened in the opening couple laps here.
Yeah, it certainly has. I'm just riding on board then with the 2 McLarens, Domi and Yeezy for FGE. And Domi has found himself out of the DRS zone of the guy up ahead. That's Piotr Debek for Alpine in CPI. And this is going to be, I think, a very easy move for Yeezy on his teammate. Yeah, sweeps it round the outside. It's got the move done before they even make it into the braking zone. And I think now that they've dropped out of that DRS zone from up ahead, I wonder if a lot of that could be tactical to sort of keep the speed, the momentum up as best they can. There's a little look there from Domi, I noticed, under braking on his teammate, but I think he thought better of it this time round. But back to Donovan, he really is putting in the work on those medium tyres, making them work for him exceptionally well. He's found his way up into P4, and I was going to mention it, but I think you pretty much clocked it as I was going to. I did notice he was the only man on that medium tyre, and by God, is he making it work for him right now. now. Yeah, he's found his way up to P4 and is still in the hunt for that win. Lap 6 we've just come on to, and like Rob just said, much action on the track. It's everywhere you look, up and down the grid. Such is the nature of this Austrian Grand Prix. You know, it breathes action, doesn't it, really? You know, the lap times are so close, and the DRS trains that you can get, or not so much trains necessarily, but the amount of DRS points they have free round here. But you
Speaking of action, though, Ashley, sorry to jump in there. We've got a battle for the lead here. Michelle finally makes the move on Naka into turn number 3. And it looks like he's just going to hang on, but they are going to be side by side through turn 4. Naka does not want to give up the lead at the moment. He's pretty comfortable at the moment, and he has made it work round the outside of turn 4. That's an unbelievable move there. Really sorry to butt in, Ashley, but wanted to make sure that we were able to cover that. A mad battle between these two guys, and I'm sure Linus is watching this, licking his absolute lips on those medium tyres, hoping to pounce at a minute's notice any moment that one of these guys makes a mistake.
Oh, no, please don't apologise, Rob. I think I was beginning to waffle and I needed you to stop me. And thank God you did. And I managed to ride on board just as we were watching them go side by side through turn 4, 5. And I want to say brilliant defensive driving there from Naka. He's managed to hold on to that lead, but I'm not sure how long he's going to hold on to it for. Michelle mounting another attack, and I wouldn't count Rowe out in that Williams. He's looked to go down the inside of Naka as well. Michelle's got the move done up towards Amzag of turn 3, but now Naka's going to have the DRS down towards turn 4. It could be a repeat of last time. Is he going to go defensive? No, he's not. Naka down the inside then of Michelle. It's a carbon copy of last time. They've just swapped positions, but can Naka get the move done? It looks as though he has done. In towards turn 6 now, the left-hander down the hill towards turn 7, and Naka still retains that lead. And well, this is looking very handy for the guys behind them. They've got a little train here, about 7 cars. Domi in the McLaren unfortunately dropping off the back, but this is looking very handy for the guys up here in this front train. It's keeping them very close together.
Yeah, these battles pretty much squishing the train down together, and I was looking to look at the progress of the McLarens. They had sort of fallen off the back of this train a little bit, and I was thinking that with all this battling, it might push them a bit closer to the top, but they do seem to be struggling a little bit to make any progress, any inroads on this lead train. The lead train at the top 7 separated by so little, and it might become almost a secondary race between the two McLarens, the NRT Alfa Romeo, NLR Williams, and the AMS Aston Martin. It might become a little bit of a F1.5, as we might say, between those guys, and then we have obviously the train for P13 as well. So that can be a bit of a struggle around these tracks, especially when the pace of these guys is so evenly matched. Losing the DRS is so detrimental to your race, and if you're unable to get back in, it is not going to be a happy day. But we will carry on. Lap 9 is what we are starting, a quarter of the way through the race, and there's a big moment there for Naka in P1, and that's a 3-second time penalty, a disastrous event for him. Only on lap 9, and already picking up a 3-second time penalty is not going to be what FRC will be hoping for, as Roman Dishmay also picks up a 3-second time penalty. We've got 4 of those so far, and that is going to be music to Rowe's ears and Michelle's ears, as Rowe looks to go, looks to go for a move into turn number 3. Rowe is sticking his nose up there as well. Does really lucky there to not make any contact or spin around. We know the contact model on the game like F1 23 is not exactly the most refined thing in the world, but gets away with it for now, as Ashley making noises there really close to the rear end. And I was speaking of this secondary train here, and it looks like there's been some movement around the two FGE guys, as FGE Yeezy has actually fallen off the back of this train, now in P12, sort of becoming a part of that train for P13, making it for P12. But yeah, every single lap there seems to be moves, seems to be some action, and seems to be a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, you were saying there they've dropped off this front pack. It is very much the Formula 1.5 best of the rest battle. This could end up being for P8 here, and Raul for the Alfa Romeo outfit is the guy leading that charge. And I wonder if he can now make some inroads. It looks as though he could be. The gap has come down a couple of tenths, but not by much, and it's not really changing massively. But I think that McLaren there of Domi for FGE and his teammates struggling a bit, as there goes a move by Lucas 09 for Aston Martin up the inside of that McLaren, trying to battle it out for the final points. There's contact, and there goes the Aston Martin, is round, and Lucas 09 has gone into the wall and he's facing the wrong way, and I think he's got damage. It does look as though he's got going once again, but you can see there he's dropped down to the back of the grid. P18, he's going to be P19 now. Senior Ghost makes his way past, and that is not how Lucas 09 wanted his afternoon to go, but it'll be interesting to see how that sort of came about, really. There was a bit of contact with him and that McLaren. I wasn't expecting it to be so much, but clearly it was enough to throw him off completely. But yeah, back to the front pack and the train that's going on here. I was looking earlier before I got caught up in what was happening just there. I was looking at their ERS levels, and at the time I last checked, Balaz for BRT was the lowest, but he's managed to pick it back up again now. But actually, looking at it, De Beck, I think, has got the biggest amount of battery, and also Naka, which is very surprising, as he's the guy at the front of this train. You'd think he'd be using it up to stay ahead, but he seems to be one that's able to save it the most. So that is very interesting, and I'm sure it will unfold more as we get even deeper into this Grand Prix. But 11 laps gone, or we're on the 11th lap, and you know, a couple of changes for the lead, but Naka's still able to hold them off for the time being.
Yeah, as I say, Naka currently having the advantage with the ERS, with the track position. However, that 3-second time penalty still looms over his head quite largely, I'd say. At the moment, that 3 second would drop him all the way down to P7. So that shows just how close this sort of front pack is. And no matter how much ERS he is going to have, that it's not going to pull him out 3 seconds and retain this win. He's going to have to pray that people like Rowe, people like the CPI driver Michelle, get another penalty. And there is an NLT driver of Raul. He is round out of turn number 10. Did not see what happened there, but that is a disaster for the NRT driver. But yeah, not what you want to see. Obviously, how close these guys are and how much they're all fighting. Collisions and accidents are going to end up happening, as we see Bourbon Boy making light work of the FGE driver there, getting himself up into P9. A disconnect earlier on, really costing him a chance to be in a good position in this race. But he's managing to get his head down, try and recover the best he can, and maybe, if possible, elevate himself into the train for the lead. It's going to be a big ask, but if he has got the pace that he has shown so far, there's no reason why he can't. We're still looking around to find some battles. There was always a lull on these laps through the middle couple of sectors, but interesting to me that Linus Donovan has not been more aggressive, you could say. He's on those medium tyres. He needs to get to the front of this train, use those medium tyres, because as soon as the other guys around him go onto the mediums, they're going to have the advantage. As Raul, who spun just on the same lap he did out of turn 10, has now gone off into the gravel, and a VSC has come out. Is that going to trigger some pit stops? No, Grosjean has dived at the opportunity. He is in the pit lane, assumingly on medium compound tyres, the way he's going to go. Senior Ghost is in. Raul is going to have to come in to change that front wing, and surely we'll see everyone else. Kieran stays out. Sonic also stays out, not opting to take advantage, as Raul has decided to retire from the race. Does not see any point in carrying on. But safety car came out at a really awkward time, especially for the lead pack. They were just past the pit lane, and yeah, unable to capitalise. If this stays out long enough, do you think the lead group boxes?
I don't think the lead group boxes. I think Linus Donovan boxes, if I'm being completely honest with you. He could be the one looking to go on a different strategy, as there's a drive-through penalty. That's not something you see every day on the F1 23. That's a very rare penalty there, but Sornik's managed to pick it up.
As
and
did
he's going to be having to
Grosjean.
serve that. Ah, so he's not the only one. Wow, that is a very rare occurrence. But we're back under green once again. and unfortunately it didn't stay out long enough. I didn't think it would, but if it did, Donovan would have been my man to pit in under that. He's on that medium compound tyre still, the only one to be on it, especially in this front train, and he's hanging on quite well. Before we got the VSC, although he's under threat right now, look at that, the Haas driver of BRT Balaz. He's going to try and go around the outside, then up to Amzag, turn 3 here, but the inside line is going to be held by Donovan. He squeezes him out, but leaves him just enough room on the road. He had every right to have that little bit of track on the outside. He was very much alongside enough, and they've both got the DRS, in fact, and they're still going side by side now, down in towards T4. They're still going side by side. Almost ran him off the circuit a little bit there, Donovan, but the Haas there for the BRT driver just about managed to hang on, but Donovan has won on that occasion, and he'll maintain P4 for the time being. The important and crucial thing for these guys is that they don't drop off to the guys in front. Like you said earlier, Rob, that train and that DRS is crucial, but I'm looking at it crucially. Donovan's in. He's in. Well, this is going to be, I think, yeah, if that safety car or VSC had stayed out a little bit longer, I think he would have been lapping his lips and laughing at the opportunity that he had that cheap and easy pit stop. But he's going to pit it under normal racing conditions, as I fear we're going to get a lot of the race, if not the entire race, should be under normal racing conditions, unless we do have a big accident. But these guys are sensible enough not to cause those, you would think. But looking at the top row, the top train as it was, there has been a little gap opened up. As Donovan, the man coming in that was the filler in that gap, he's jumped out of it, and it now means that BRT Balaz has more than a second to the guy in front of him. But crucially, I've just seen Michel has actually dropped out of that DRS window to the two guys up front. So I wonder if he can. He's got back under it now, but he's having to put the work in to do so.
Yep, he is indeed. He is pitted there. He's going to come out lap P13. He's 20 seconds off the net race leader at the moment, which is the FRC driver of Naka. Style on pole has he's almost led every lap, really. He hasn't had a little bit of a competition with Michel earlier on. Rowe is his newest competitor, but it has been Naka out in front. He might see a new competitor coming to his aid. It is not. I thought Rowe was going to go for it there. Does not fancy battling into turn number 3 at the moment. Pretty comfortable sat where he is, sitting in the slipstream and the ERS. As further back we've got Roman Dishney going for a move on Yeezy. The FG boys are struggling a little bit here. Oh, he's almost like a snap there. Gets lucky. Good control under his cart to not go in the wall, but he's using some ERS here. It is Yeezy, and he's going to clear Roman Dishney once again. Did not want to give up that position. Yeezy lost pace with Domi, who was sort of in the train behind Bourbon Boy, who was making inroads on the group in front. Got into the DRS of Jay Kennedy, as Sonic has a 3-second time penalty. We have some pitters here. Amos Lucas has decided to pit, following the race director's rule there of staying inside the white line. Peter Dabek has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Another man who has joined the 3-second time penalty club. Lots of people really wanted to join this for some reason. I'm not too sure about that, but they seem to think it's a good club and they want to be a part of it. But yeah, there's Linus Donovan, the guy who just pitted and was looking to make inroads on this lead train. Has picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is not ideal for his chances at the race win. Bauble Boy going for a move. Peter Dabek's gone for a move as well, but Peter's gone incredibly deep into turn number 3. That could allow BRT Balash another opportunity to get back at him. Balash will have the ERS, but I don't think he's going to go for any moves. Pretty happy to sit back where he is as Bourbon Boy's advances in the field simply get better and better. He has been really impressive, I think, after his disconnect, actually.
Yeah, he has. He's been the one to watch, really, and he's been kind of gone, under the radar. He's been very anonymous in this race. You mentioned him once or twice, and he's just been quietly getting on with it, and that shows. He's currently sitting P6, as we can see here, riding on board with him. So, and he's not a million miles away off these guys out front.
We've got Pitters at the front.
Pitters at the front. Who's in?
Naka and Rowe. They're both into the pits. That is interesting to see that those two guys are in. The two Alpines continue. The two Hasses continue. So these guys are going to have to wait a bit longer, especially with being on the same team. And we do have Noah's Ark at the front. 2 by 2 by 2. And finally, we can see what that undercut has done. Linus Donovan's advantage to the race leader is, as soon as it loads, about 2.5 seconds.
Well, crucially, Naka's come out behind the Alfa Romeo, and the Alfa Romeo there actually had a DRS up the hill. He's gone a bit deep, and I think Naka's going to get the move done now, down towards turn 4. But that crucially could have slowed him up a little bit, and it's almost a 3-second gap between him and Donovan, actually. So it's definitely not helped his race for Naka there, but the undercut for Donovan working nicely as we now get Mella being passed by Rowe round the outside there of turn 6. It looked as though there might have been a little bit of contact. Mello found his way into the grass. I didn't quite catch the onboard or all the action just there. It looked pretty clean to me, and I wonder if one of them just caught the curbing on the inside and it just spun him round. But looking at this now, Rob, I wonder, is this race going to be won under who's not going to be in that 3-second penalty club? Because right now, the way I look at it, the guys out front, and that being sort of net race lead Donovan and Naka, both picking up those time penalties, and you'd argue that Rowe or even Michelle, by the time they finally pit in, they're going to be looking pretty happy that they don't have any time penalties to their name.
Yeah, especially at a track like this, you need to be on the absolute limit. You really can extend the track to a nice advantage. The white line is the racetrack; it is not the curb. So you can really sort of take the George Michael, you might say, on some of these track limits. And some of these guys are playing with fire and getting burnt, trying to push it to the extreme and getting caught out as a. I'm on board with Naka at the moment, just watching his advantage as Peter, I was about to say, gets the move done on Balash, but it is Michelle and Balash who have started to come into the pits at the end of lap 19, onto lap 20. You'd assume medium tyres will be on board for them.
Oh, there's a Ferrari round! I'm sorry! Donovan's round! The race net leader, oh my god, he's gone round through the Rint curve, and he's now dropped his way down to P11. And he's obviously way now behind Naka, who's found his way up to P3. He's behind Rowe, he's behind Lucas, Michelle, coming out of the pits, and Donovan has found his way behind him. It's only 5 tenths though, so Donovan not completely out of this race, and hopefully what he'll plan to do now, I think, is follow Michelle through the race, who's got that fresher compound of rubber, but he's even looking squirrely out of turn 3 there at the top of the hill. Sorry to butt in there, Rob, but that was crucial to his race.
Like I did with you earlier, don't apologise at all. We need to get as much of the action on board as we possibly can. But as you're saying, Linus now, he's going to hope to try and stick with these new fresh pitters and try and stick with them. But his tyres are older, his tyres are harder. He's going to have less grip. He's going to really struggle. All that hard work he put in on that undercut has gone up in absolute smoke as we have our final 2 guys coming into the box. Peter and Bourbon Boy have come in. They should filter out around about Dommy in P11, and we will see what they can do with about 15 laps left as Linus runs wide once again as Naka is showing his pace here. That undercut, he's really stretching his legs and making the most out of this situation. His gap to Rowe at the moment is 2 seconds, so Rowe still winning the race as it currently stands, but he's going to need to keep within that 3 seconds for the next 15 laps. And it looks like Naka is going to have the pace over him at the moment. Where have these guys filtered out? We've got Michelle looks to be the biggest contender at the moment. He is on 1 lap old mediums and is getting inside that DRS of one of the AMS Lucas boys. And Balash is making a move on Jay Kennedy. Auburn Boy making a move on Peter Dabek as well. So loads of moves going down, up and down the field. Both of the BRT guys are getting a little bit feisty and trying to get some moves done, trying to get their heads down. They've had some difficulties in this race, but they've put that behind them a little bit, and they are making some moves in P6 and PA at the moment. We will see where they end up in about 15 laps time.
Yeah, we certainly will, and this is the crucial part of this race now. Donovan, unfortunately, he's dropped well off the back of Michelle there. He's almost 3 seconds back, and I think it's only been about a lap since we actually last came on board with him. But watching on board now then with Kennedy in the Williams, he's right up behind the gearbox of BRT Balash, and he's got the DRS wide open, potentially going to be making a move up here into Amzag, turn 3. Doesn't go for the move this time. Will he maybe look at it down towards turn 4 so he can cement that position through that middle sector and onto the next lap thereafter? But they have got the car up ahead, so actually Kennedy then, he's going to have that DRS to defend. Was that a little bit of contact between him and Donovan? It looks as though he touched the rear of that Ferrari. I'm not sure if there's damage on that Haas. It doesn't look as though damage has occurred, but it does. They're pushing each other around. Oh my word, they've gone side by side. Kennedy maybe going round the outside there of turn 7. They're side by side through turn 8 towards the Rint curve. Balance has restored itself, it seems, but they look as though they're pushing Donovan around the track at this point, especially the BRT Haas of Balash. But Kennedy right on the gearbox of the two of them, and now are they going to make it 3 wide into turn 1? It potentially could be that. No, it's not. Donovan just going to lose the 2 positions, and Balash and Kennedy make their way up into 5 and 6 respectively. But Donovan's not given up on this yet. He's going to potentially have a look for a move up towards turn 3. He's going to try and make it 3 wide up into this corner. Donovan to the inside, makes it 3 wide, gets the move done on 1. The cut back there from the Haas of Balash. My word, this is fantastic racing. They're still side by side. Donovan not giving this up for 1 second. He's going to go down the inside of Balash, 3 wide almost again. The BRT Haas just holding out. Kennedy on the Williams around the outside. Now he's going for the move again on the Haas driver. The Haas driver just covers it up. Donovan looking to the inside, but I think he's going to have to give it up. There's a squirrel there, and he looks like the teammate of Bourbon Boy has also made his way through. Not quite, actually. Donovan just holding on. My word. Rob, I'm going to pass to you. This is intense.
It's absolutely crazy. The little offsetting tyres that we have now got from the pit stops is making the action go all up and down. Donovan, who has had to defend from that Balash and Jay Kennedy, has got 2 new suitors to take his position. It is Bourbon Boy and Pitor, and this could even pile it up to get that back, and they could go 3 wide on the run up to turn number 3. They are going to go 3 wide. Donovan without the DRS is going to be a bit of a struggle. But it is Peter and Bumble. They've gone through. They're going to go side by side into turn number 3. There's a little bit of wheel banging as there's a front to rear little touching. But Bourbon Boy looks like he's going to be the beneficiary of that at the moment. And Donovan has used up all of his resources, unable to get involved in the action. Peter looks, he's going to stick his nose on the other side of turn number 4. He's right enough alongside. But Bourbon Boy, with the preferred line there round the outside, is going to hang on to P7. But what Peter can see at the moment is that flashing rear red light of Bourbon Boy. And that is going to be a beautiful sight to see, telling him that Bourbon Boy is under 10% ERS and is going to be struggling with his battery. And Peter, with a huge amount of ERS at his disposal, is going to hopefully try and put him under a little bit of pressure and maybe even get a move. That's Bourbon Boy getting a little bit squirrely out of turn number 10, but should just have enough as we start here. Sonic picks up a 3-second time penalty once again. I don't know if he's got one before, but he has got another one. But here we go. Peter, is he going to be close enough? He can see the flashing red light. Does he fancy a move? Someone he might be close enough is Jay Kennedy. As Jay Kennedy doesn't go for a move, Peter almost goes for a move. They both think about it, but don't end up getting it done. Donovan loses another position to FGE Domi, who has managed to get himself into this little train, which is currently for P5. Behind Balash, Jay Kennedy does not fancy going for a move. Peter does not fancy going for a move either. And all of it might calm down a bit. How there was no serious accident there, I don't know. But they pretty much are showing us why they are the elite division. They've got racecraft, they've got pace, and they've got patience. And they were able to make it stick. Get ahead as AMS Lucas, the man currently sat in P4, picks up a 3-second time penalty, which at the moment is not going to affect his finishing position, but in 10 laps time it very well might do. The gap for P1 and P2 has evened out a little bit now. Naka and Rowe pretty much stabilizing at around about 2 seconds. And as we look round about, the battle has really intensified here. We've got Jay Kennedy eyeing up a move on Balash. He's got the move done. As I thought Peter might have gone for a move, but Jay Kennedy, he's had to go deep there. He's had to go deep, and that could invite in a parcel, signed, sealed, delivered for Balash. Can he get the move back done on Jay Kennedy? He's going to think about it, but eventually think that not this lap. We'll go again next lap. And Jay Kennedy has got himself up into P5, and these guys might be trading positions till the end.
Yeah, I think they absolutely could be, and I would not count Piotr Debek out of this. He's got most ERS out of the little train here that's formed, as that's a retirement there from Lucas 09. It's been a pretty dismal day from him for the Aston Martin outfit, and it's an unfortunate day for him, I guess, in that aspect as well. So sad to see, but I can understand it nonetheless. It's not the day he's been looking for, but this looks to be the day that the Haas are really going to take the fight and try and get as many points as they can. They were under threat just a short moment ago, both of them, but it looks to be that BRT are on the attack, and they are going round the outside of NLR of the Williams there, of Kennedy, and Balash takes the position back as Kennedy runs it deep. Bourbon Boy is potentially at risk now from being overtaken up by the Alpine there of Debek, but he's got that little red light flashing still. He's low on the ERS. He's got none left by the looks of it, and he's going to have to settle then here as Kennedy there picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that changes the whole dynamic of this little train of cars we've got, all battling for that 5th position on the road. But Kennedy now is very much going to be battling, I think, for P7 between him and Debek in the Alpine behind, especially if they stick together so closely like they are currently. But we'll see how this pans out. There's still 8 or 9 laps to go. I think it's 8 laps to go until we get that checkered flag. Naka seems to be pulling out a little bit of a gap further up the road. But crucially now, I've just noticed that Michel, he's right onto the gearbox of Rowe. And so those slightly fresher tyres then for Michel has started to come into effect here. He's got the DRS. He's made it through turn 3, right up to the gearbox of that Williams driver. And now he's going to be coming under threat down towards turn number 4, little downhill right-hander, tricky to get the braking zone right, but they both did very nicely, and Rowe will survive by the looks of it for another lap. There's not really an overtaking opportunity now for the rest of it until you get towards turn 1 of Lauda. But he'll be looking to just stick as close as he can to that guy ahead, and then make that move under the DRS activation points, make it nice and easy. And I would imagine turn 3 is going to be the magical turn where he gets this move done. He's been looking quicker, putting the tyres to use, and now it could be that the attack is coming to fruition now towards turn 1. This really just a straight to get right up to your competitor in front. Stick as close as you can through the first corner, because now comes the big chance to make the move. ERS being burned there on Michel's car. He's definitely got alongside. He's actually got ahead there towards the braking zone, and he's now made his way up into P2. And crucially, it's the net lead. It's only 2.5 seconds then to Naka out in front in that Red Bull, but he's got a time penalty coming his way. But the battle is not over yet. I'll turn it back to Rob and he can continue for you.
Yeah, Michel getting the move done on Rowe at the moment, but what I'm watching is the battle for P5. It's intensifying once again every lap. It seems to get more and more feisty, as this time it is Peter who is the beneficiary. He clears one of the Hasses and gets himself up into P6. Now getting a clear shot at Jay Kennedy in P5. These two drivers do have time penalties, so Bourbon Boy and Balash would, at the end of the race, get the positions back, but it is going to be all about pride and honour between these guys at the moment. They're going to want to finish ahead, as Domi has managed to get himself into this battle as well, and he'll be feeling pretty good sitting in this train and sort of just getting his head down and getting on with it, trying to stick with these guys as best he can and negate that 3-second time penalty that he has got. And once again, we're going to go back to that battle for P2. It's Rowe and Michel. Rowe on the outside as we head through turn 2 up to turn 3, getting that position back. These guys are going to need to try and stay together as they are fighting for the net lead. Is Michel going to go for another move on Rowe? At the moment, he looks like he's going to think better of it. He knows what the race is all about. It's all about trying to fight for that win. And looking back for P5, it's every lap. We're watching the battle for the net lead, and we're watching for the battle for P5. This time, Jay Kennedy going on the outside of Peter Daveg. Peter gained the position into into turn 3. Apologies about that. but he loses it into turn 4, and the two Hasses unable to make anything stick there. Peter on the freshest tyres out of the lot of them, and all of that ERS reserve has sort of gone up in smoke, trying to make some moves and push himself a little bit further ahead. Jay Kennedy with the oldest tyres out of all of them, but crucially with that track position. But once again, we will go around this really beautiful circuit in the mountains of Austria, and we are now on to the final 5 laps of the race. And this race could still be turned on its head, as Michel once again is going to reclaim that P2. These guys are trading positions every single lap, but Michel goes deep into turn number 3, and that can invite Rowe to go through once again, and he does so. Jay Kennedy this time hanging on, but Bourbon Boy has got to move down the inside into turn number 3 on Pitor, and Pitor is going to have to sit behind 4 now and hopefully try and keep Balash behind. They're going to go side by side into P4, a little bit of a ERS slipstream being given by Bourbon Boy to Balash. They're going to go side by side through turn number 4. On the outside is Pitor. He does really well to hang it in there. We've seen chaos go through there in real life, with Alex Albon being the main party negatively affected by that. But this time Peter was able to keep it on track and losing 2 positions on 1 lap to the BRT guys, who are looking feisty, calculated, but most importantly in a prime position to win this battle for P5.
Yeah, it's getting hot under the collar for these drivers. It's intensifying lap after lap after lap, and we're watching these drivers make moves that are, I would argue, getting a little bit riskier and riskier. But ultimately, I think the key point of this is actually they are gaining still to Lucas up ahead, but because of this intense battling and fighting in between the lot of them, they're not gaining quick enough. So I don't think Lucas is going to really be under threat. Bourbon Boy now making his way up to P5, and his teammate of Balash just holding on to P7 currently. And I'm just watching, sort of keeping an eye on Domi there at the back in the McLaren. He's just biding his time. I think he's more waiting for something to go awfully wrong for these guys, and he's really just there to pick up the pieces, because with that penalty and the age of his tyres, I mean, Kennedy proving that the age is just a number, but he has got the slightly older tyres out of these guys, and I'm not sure if Domi has the pace of these guys up ahead. A lot of these guys were fighting in that front train towards the beginning of this Grand Prix, so they've got the pace. It's whether they can, put it to good use with the tyre and strategy they've gone with, and what is really happening on track around them. But they found themselves slightly off that front pack now, and they are battling for P5. But Domi, I think he's really there to pick up the pieces at the end of it. But it's been great racing from all 5 of them. They're battling lap after lap, and Bourbon Boy is now going to be the man under threat for BRT and that Haas outfit, as Jay Kennedy there making the move up to P5. And he will take that quite nicely, but he's gone a little bit deep. There's a tiny touch there from Bourbon Boy into the back of Kennedy. I don't think it was enough to cause damage, but it was just enough to notice. But ultimately, Kennedy back to P5. The BRTs in the Haas, they run side by side now. Not side by side, but like one after the other, is what I meant. 6 and 7. But I am still keeping an eye on that gap up to the lead. Rowe and Michel. It's still just under 3 seconds, so Naka unfortunately will still lose that net lead come the end of this race as it stands. And with 2 laps to go, he's still got it all to play for. It's only 4 attempts between him and victory, so he will definitely be pushing it right to the very end to see if he can win out on this occasion. But we'll keep riding on board then with this gaggle of cars for the moment.
Yeah, exactly that. This is the battle that we've all sort of been paying attention to at the moment. It is a fierce competition between the 2 BRT guys. Oh my word, there's a retiring pits there for Linus Donovan, who's called it quits after it's been ruining his chances of a really nice result in this race. Could have been in this battle for P5, would have extended it to the top 10. It would have been 5th to 10th, all battling for 1 position. Jay Kennedy currently winning, and is going to continue winning this P5 battle at the moment. Bourbon Boy not thinking it's really worth it to go for a move at the moment. Happy to sit behind 4 now and think again. He's still got 2 laps to make his decision on what he's going to do. Is he going to try and do it on track, or will he take the penalties after the race and claim that P5 anyway? They are going to keep going round and round and round as we are heading on to the I believe it's lap 35 now, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Naka currently losing the win by a tenth of a second to Rowe. Their battling has been a little bit detrimental for them, as Michel is going to go for move into P2 now. He is inside that penalty window and currently will be taking the win, but a lot still can change with a lap and a half to go. Bourbon Boy now looks to go for a move on P5, but he's lifting off. He does not want the move at the moment, and someone who does want the move is P2. He's putting Domi under a little bit of pressure. Can't quite get it done. Does Bourbon Boy want the move here? It doesn't look like he wants it. He's pulling out of the slipstream. He clearly wants it on the last lap. He thinks, I'll sit behind for now. I'll get him on the last lap, and I will take my P5. Thank you very much. They all stay line and stern as we are about to pretty much get onto the final lap of this race. One that has absolutely flown by. So much battling, so much chaos. 1 VSC. It's been racing green flag all the way. And yeah, we are going to head on to the final lap as Naka starts it, currently losing the win by about a tenth and a half of a second, but it's still all to play for. We've got 10 corners left to go. Let's see who's going to take the P5 and the win.
Yeah, it is still all to play for. That gap now looking nearly at 2.5 seconds. It's 2.6 currently, but last lap by, he did just eke it out to over 3. So it really does come down to this final lap, and it really is going to be a case of who can nail it. Will it be Marcelo or Rowe, who somewhat still feel they're fighting for that win? Bourbon Boy there making it way is up to... That's a massive lunge from the Alpine of De Beck. My word, he's completely taken out the Haas of Balash, and that is definitely going to be a penalty coming his way after the race. My word, he completely missed the braking zone and has taken out one of his fellow competitors. But I will hand it back to you, Rob, for the final bit of this Grand Prix. I think Naka's going to just about take it.
Yeah, Bourbon Boy there fighting fiercely. I knew he was going to try and go for the last lap, and it looks like he is going to have enough. But the FRC man started on pole, got pole by 0.8 of a second. He's going to hopefully claim his win here. The gap looks to be just enough as Michel has gone for it in the last corner, costing him and Rowe a chance at the win. It's going to be Michel taking P2 provisionally. Naka holds on to the win even with his 3-second time penalty. Rowe is going to manage to hold on to P3 for now, as Lucas is going to hang on to P4. It's a 5 and 6 for the BRT guys. Bourbon got it on track. Balash had to take on penalties. Jay Kennedy in P7. Domi with a nice result, pulling it out of the hat. Peter, who was in the competition for P5, has to settle for P9. Roman Dishmay, who didn't qualify, started last, has managed to get himself a P10 as Peter's left, which is going to cock up a lot of these results. Really helpful from him. Yeezy is going to be P11, but in P10. Melly in P11, but it is going to be P12. So he's going to come around the final corner to take P13. No, Grosjean is going to take P14 as they come to the line. A little bit of contact between them. But that is going to round off the elite division here. Round number 1 here in the Austrian Grand Prix. And it's going to be a win for FRC, taking maximum points today. Bourbon Boy, your driver of the day, a guy who had to deal with quite a lot of time with a disconnect, but there is the man of the hour, untouchable today, even with the 3-second. He could not be stopped. The man from Portugal, apparently. Naka is going to take the trophy home, and full points for FRC. A really, really nice performance for him. And I'm going to have a look at the classifications from that. FRC pulling in the big points there, full helping of points for them. The Alpine of CPI get P2 with Michel, but penalties for that last corner lunge with Rowe could come into effect. Obviously, we're not stewards here. We're not going to make any stewarding verdicts. Just going to tell you what we saw, and yeah, a little bit of contact through the last corner could result in some stewarding action. Rowe finishes off the podium in the Williams for the NLR team. AMS Lucas in P4 drove a solid race there, just about got it with his penalty over his head. The two BRT guys 5th and 6th. Jay Kennedy, the other NLR guy, picks up P7. The two FGE guys will be 8th and 10th, but I believe P2 disconnected, so he will get that P9, I believe, and Roman Dishmay is going to round off our points finishers here today. So a bit of a hectic race for us today. Ashley, do you have a driver of the day that you'd like to award?
Driver of the day. I'm still trying to get over that final corner. Watching that Williams, he spun it round on the final corner. I don't know if you caught that, Rob, but Rowe spinning it out of the final corner. I'm not sure if it was contact between him and Michel or whether he just tried to overdrive the car through the final corner. That's why I was shouting at you, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And oh my word, what a finish to that Grand Prix. And Naka hats off to him. He took charge and he played it. He kept it cool. He was hovering around that mark of winning or potentially just finishing on the podium, but kept his cool and delivered when he needed to. So well done to him, I will say. Driver of the day, I don't want to be biased and say, last to first challenge for Bourbon Boy, but he had a disconnect in there as well, and he really was carving it up through the grids, and what a show him and that gaggle of cars for P5 really put on for us tonight. So I think Bourbon Boy is definitely going to take home my driver of the day.
Well, there we have it then. That is round one of ETC wrapped up for you. Tier 1 will be back tomorrow night to take on this Austrian circuit as well. I believe we've got Karakimo is going to be your commentator for that. We're still yet to see who is going to do co-comments with him. It might be him on his own. But 8 p.m. time, Saturday the 2nd of December, we'll be here for Tier 1 in Austria. And we will see you then. Me and Ashley might see you next week. Thank you for joining us.